All right, we've transitioned from a work session. Good evening and welcome to the Village Board meeting, the Village of Pleasantville. Today is Monday, March 14. As is likely the case for the foreseeable future, we're meeting in person here at 80 Wheeler Avenue, but also broadcasting in parallel on Zoom, and folks are invited to attend in either location on Zoom or in the room. You can pick up the schedule as well as the Zoom link for our meetings at our website, pleasantville-ny.gov. Likewise, the Zoom links for other boards and commissions that are operating in a similar manner. And within a few days, you can pick up an on-demand webcast of any of these Village Board meetings at pctv76.org. So I have a few announcements to make, but I am going to hold those for the moment in order to invite the folks from Sustainable Westchester, who are here as our guests, to make a presentation to us.
Hi, yeah, thank you. My name is Nick Tedrow. I don't know if I can the video. My name is Nick Tedrow. I am the program manager for the Westchester Power Program here at Sustainable Westchester. Yeah, am I able to share my screen here? I am, so I'll do that quickly.
Great, we see it. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. All right, yeah, so thank you for having me. I just want to give an update on the program and talk about, some places where we're headed here as we're coming to the end of the contract. So I'll just give a brief overview of the org and our program for those who maybe are unfamiliar before I get into what we're going to be evolving into here, hopefully in the coming months. So just as, general overview, Sustainable Westchester, our organization, we're a nonprofit consortium of the municipalities in Westchester County, including Westchester County itself. And we have a variety of service program offerings here that, as you can see, are centered around sustainability, environmental health. So we're here to talk about Westchester Power, though. And this is just another, I guess, actual flag, or not flag, but something to alert you to coming attractions. We are getting ready for an opt-out community solar credit offering that will be within the Westchester Power Program itself, and will provide guaranteed savings to participating households and small businesses. We're going to be prioritizing the delivery of credits initially to savings for low and to moderate income households. So starting with folks who are enrolled in programs like HEAP, so the Utility Low-Income Assistance Programs, or the APP recipients as it goes. So, if this is something that sounds like it might be of interest to you, the first step is going to be, amending your local CCA enabling law to add the solar credit to the company supply offering. So, we put together a template for you that's going to come your way soon. But if you do have questions about it specifically, want to learn more, you can reach out to our Director of Solar Programs, Leo Wiegman, and their kids, leo@sustainablewestchester.org, to learn more about that, or ask questions that we'll be setting stuff up. Just a plug for that really quick. Westchester Power, CCA, of the 44 participating municipalities, 29 are part of this program, with the offers joining the 29th this month, actually. And we service roughly, with their addition, around 147,000 residential and small business accounts in the county with our electricity supply program. So what is Westchester Power? It's our flagship energy program of Sustainable Westchester. We provide clean, 100% New York State renewable energy at competitive prices with the market. And we're a community energy program that affects only folks' electricity supply. So you're still a customer of Con Edison. This is just operating as a different supply source for people who are participating in the program. All right, and then just a brief overview about how electricity works for anybody who might be unfamiliar. It has to get generated somewhere, so there's a source. Typically, the most common these days still are fossil fuel facilities, coal generation storage, for example. But Westchester Power, as a 100% renewable supplier, sources energy from New York State hydropower facilities. And then, wherever that energy comes from, is generated, it has to get deposited into the electricity grid, and Con Edison is responsible for a great deal of the delivery, maintenance, and getting that to your home. And they're also the ones who are responsible for billing you under every scenario. They are your utility of record and deliver the energy to you. And then you have a choice as a resident, small business owner, where you get your energy from. And that's where we come in with this program, giving folks an option for easy to access 100% renewable energy without having to have a basic expert. So this is an opt-out format program as a community default. So at a basic level, you've always had it, an opt-out program with Con Edison. When you signed up with them and set up your electric supply, they started giving you their energy without other options. So this is functionally the same thing. It's just the difference being that communities who are participating in our program have made a decision about where they want their default electric supply to come from and what's being brought into the community by enabling our program to exist. So, again, I mentioned it's an alternative to confusing ESCO offers that are out there. An easy way to access and tap into renewable energy if that's important to you as an individual. And it's very cost effective way to install at a macro level, at a large level, aggregate. And again, the opt-out structure is also a mechanism to ensure that we're able to really fully leverage the collective buying class of our municipalities and their residents and really go out and secure these competitively priced contracts. From a mission standpoint of why we're here doing it, it's having a great impact countywide. 1.1 million tons of CO2 mitigated. And then you can see Pleasantville, its rough contribution here also added here for reference. So yeah, this is all derived from the EPA calculator that estimates emission impact and puts it into more tangible terms than just CO2, metric tons of CO2 mitigated, but kind of like a more tangible and easier to understand impact. So, we're really doing great things, and we're looking to expand, greatly upon this and continue the momentum we have. Where we're at with the current contract that Pleasantville residents are under right now, these rates are fixed through June 30th, so that's the expiration of this current contract. Our 100% renewable supply option is 7.41 cents per kilowatt hour, and our standard supply is 6.75 cents per kilowatt hour. And in terms of savings, we don't ever guarantee savings since we never know what Con Edison is going to charge month to month because of their variable rate. They're, purchasing a portion of their power on a rolling basis, and that, fluctuates based on the market. So, and as you know, with the market right now, energy and a lot of other things in the world, things are spiking a lot. So, another value added is these fixed rates that don't change from month to month.
Can I interrupt briefly, Nick? I mean, would it be fair to say that with the current spiking rates in utility rates, that just right at this moment, it's a good place to be in the fixed price world?
Yeah, there's a lot of volatility out there. So I mean, it's I know people in January we all had really shocking Con Edison bills across the board, electricity delivery and gas. There's a lot going on out there, geopolitical and otherwise, that are really having a really high, upward pressure effect on the market. So, these rates look really good right now compared to what you're going to see on the ESCO market, and what you're going to see likely, going forward until some of those pressures die down. So, I'm kind of on here saying, it's a guaranteed lock, but this is a great thing. But yeah, I mean, we feel really, good about these rates and having them for as much longer as we do.
I mean, you've sort of buried the lead, because we know locally that the people who are on the Mount Pleasant power supply are not in, or who opted out or chose an ESCO or something, have been very vocally complaining over social media in particular about, their bills doubling or tripling. So it's been a very, very much better situation for the people in this program with us this year and late last year.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's a conservative thing, the approach we have with the fixed rate over the contract term, but it's now the time where it really shows its value, right? and insulating folks to some extent from the spiking if it doesn't affect the delivery or other parts. But yeah, I think it's really valuable that it's there for people to have if they want it. Even folks who maybe weren't on it at the time in January and maybe can people benefit from it now if they were to come over. So.
Nick, could I ask a question? My name is Michael Peppard, and a trustee here. And for someone who moves newly into the community, is this a simple process for them to join into a new house?
Yeah. So if they move into the community, they can, when they set up their utility service, they can opt into the program anytime they want. They will, we do sporadically what we call newly eligible sweeps. Where we'll get a fresh, newly eligible list from Con Edison every however many months we do this. It varies a little bit, but we try not to set it too long. Where it captures basically people who move into the community, in this period, previous one, where we'll then automatically enroll them through our opt-out process as a newly eligible resident. So that will functionally happen automatically over time if they set up their account and then don't do anything. But if they move in and they know about the program and they want to just hop in and do it, they can do that, proactively on their own right away.
All right, thanks.
Problem. Yeah, so then I mentioned opt out, opt in. It's a consumer friendly option too, to have out there. You can bounce in and out of the program as much as you want, switch supplies at any time, and yeah, we have that fixed rate cap that provides you a lot of stability and assurance about what your rate's going to be month to month. So some of those benefits we've touched on quite a bit. So speaking of January, looking at our rates to date, this graph might be a little hard for folks to read, but it does cover our lifespan of the program since 2016, and you can see our two bars there in the middle are renewable and standard rate, and then the vertical bars are Con Edison's rates over time, and yeah, it's an exciting January that stands out from everything else. So current contract rate performance, since this is the contract started in January 1st, 2021, and we ran these numbers through the end of last month. Average account usage for our two classes here. You can see just a snapshot of the rough estimate of what charges would have been for folks over the contract term, based on the averages, average comparison month to month rolled up here. So, Con Edison, a little bit higher on both than both of our other supply offerings as it stands now. So, we have a few more months of the contract. We'll see how it all shakes out at the end, but certainly, been at least on par to say at least based on our
Well, I mean, and the striking news is that you can get the renewable source even slightly below the mixed source via Con Ed.
Yeah, that's right. So, this is just based on averages. So everyone's
understood. Yes. Right.
But yeah, this is comparing the average of all those months for Con Edison to our fixed rate price and just running a use case, going against the average use case for the residential small commercial customers in Pleasantville.
And it's also worth pointing out to people that, a fixed rate delivers some other benefits in addition to the vagaries of the market, which obviously changes Con Ed's supply rate. The seasonal variation is also clear. High demand months, in extreme cold weather or extreme hot weather, the rates spike. That does not happen with a fixed rate contract.
That's right, yeah. It's always the same every month. So maybe, if we went back to the last graph, we could typically see like a March or an April pretty low for a Con Ed. So,
right.
You maybe pay a little more in that month, but again, as you point out, the higher rate months where they spike, you're still paying.
Yeah, and for many people, the stability in the rates, as long as the long-term result is fair, is a benefit.
Absolutely, yeah. We've been fortunate so far to come in pricing where it is. So, yeah. So we'll, laying the groundwork here for where we're at now. We do want to talk about, as a first introduction for you all, sort of Westchester. Was someone going to ask a question back there? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. what we're, calling Westchester Power 2.0, in our industry we call CCA 2.0, but no one really knows what CCA means, so 2.0 Westchester Power, so talking about the evolution basically of, how we've operated for, since our inception over the past 5+ years, and sort of how we, move forward into bringing enhanced, environmental and economic impact to our community here. So, this coming year, we're hoping, and this year, we're hoping to really take some steps in the direction to increase the impact. So what this means is, increasing the supplier pool as a deliverable on this for even more enhanced competition in the market. And then from there, we think building structures that will enable us to be more flexible with types of programs and layers, which we can graft onto our program, such as new types of rate structures and more dynamic things, along with, supporting longer-term contracts, are really going to lead to a lot of benefits. To say the least, are long-term price stability along with that, and then, the possibilities of enabling more renewable construction. So, we're going to talk about here just what this looks like, this first step of 2.0 Westchester Power. So, on the right here is currently the 1.0 Westchester Power structure and how we do business today. In this model, we go out and we secure bids from different ESCOs, these electric supply companies. Because in New York State, only ESCOs have the authority to supply retail customers. So that alone is a limiting factor. And then you layer on top of that the fact that, we have to limit the size of the ESCOs we solicit to some degree because we have such a large capacity load. We want to make sure we're soliciting to, bigger companies who, less boutique, mom and pop kind of groups who, not necessarily going to be as reliable for our huge customer list. So that kind of shrinks the competition pool to an extent where we would not like to be. So the idea with the 2.0 model is we want to tap into the wholesale market where we can solicit more bids directly from energy producers who maybe don't play in the ESCO space. There are many wholesale suppliers who don't do that, operate as an ESCO for a variety of reasons, but most likely because it's their business interest for whatever reason. So we want to be able to tap into that market for the energy block, which is the predominant share of where the costs lie when we talk about delivering energy in the retail form. It is that bulk energy price and cost. So, we have a vendor who is available to us and can act as what we're calling a sleeving service or a wrapper service, where, it makes it look just like a normal ESCO contract in its final form, but we actually, go out to market and bid just for the electricity supply itself, a la carte, versus this whole ESCO service that we've gone and run auctions for in the past. And then we utilize this vendor who can then, firm the contracts with all of the ESCO pieces that go on top of that for a retail product. So basically what this would look like on an auction day, we would still, this is also, in development idea. So, we expect that this will potentially open up a lot of, avenues for, I already said more competition, that will be the case inherently, but also, more competitive pricing, hopefully. So, on the auction day, we'll run our traditional full retail ESCO auction and invite those same players who, are able to offer that service to do the wholesale energy block on the same day as well. So then, by running a retail and a wholesale energy block auction on the same day, we can then compare. So we can see what bids we're getting in our normal model for the 1.0 version, and then look at the wholesale auction results from those bidders and see, knowing what our fixed cost would be for that sleeve service from our vendor and all the costs that'll be added into that already predetermined, compare what the best pricing is at that point for an actual contract sign. And then from that point, whether maybe we do get, let's say we do get the better deal by, doing the wholesale auction and awarding the energy contract to a wholesale supplier, the end product is still going to be the same in that, we're going to have a retail offering that'll functionally act the same as the program has always existed before. It's just there's a little under the hood stuff going in here, and we're getting more insight ourselves into what, what's going on at the more granular cost level and process level in the wholesale the retail process. I'm going to take a pause there. That was a lot I just threw out to you, but does generally or conceptually what I described make sense?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. This is Nicole Asquith. One question is, does this mean that it would diversify the kinds of renewable energy that you could draw from? Right now it's all hydropower, right? Would that have any impact on that, this new 2.0 approach?
Not initially, really, but in the future, potentially. I mean, I made allusions to, sort of down the line, kind of doors this opens up as we expand services and lock in more longer-term deals with, greater price stability. We can then, with different kinds of partners, we can then, look to more renewable construction and localized, work. Right now, that's all represented through RECs on the market, so, it probably will still be Tier 2 REC New York State hydropower for the near term, but down the line that especially as we're moving along with CLCPA and that there's just so much more renewable energy coming online, that's a possibility.
Okay, and then this is sort of a tangential question, but I was curious how the renewable energy market is likely to be affected by the hike in gas prices, or if it is likely to be affected.
Yeah, it's gonna move along with the market. So right now, the predominant fuel source for electricity on the market is natural gas. So whatever natural gas prices are doing in the market really just affects everything else.
Affects the energy market overall.
Right now that's just going to be the case. As long as that's the current state of things. Yeah. So that'll go for renewable energy too.
Okay.
So one thing I just wanted to point out, and you'll correct me if I have this wrong, is that none of this is in competition with Con Ed. Years back when energy was deregulated, the utilities like Con Ed got out of the energy generation business. For folks who are still receiving their supply, they're buying it on the open market, and they are constrained by the state from making a profit on it. And so they're perfectly happy to have a different source of supply. They still provide the delivery, the repair, and the system. Have I got that right, Nick?
Mostly, yeah. So you're right. Deregulation, they can't generate. They still generate electricity as a corporation outside of New York State, but they can't generate it or sell it themselves in the city of the utility. That aspect of their business services is not relevant to New York State. And I'm not sure about whether or not they're restricted from making a profit or not. They're definitely supposed to, offer a cost competitive and market related price to supply as a supply option to the residents. Sorry, talking so much today I can barely get my throat.
I mean, just the basis of the deregulation years back was to unleash market forces to
absolutely,
and that is precisely what you guys are doing with community choice aggregation.
That's right, yeah, and yeah, you were right. Con Edison is out on the market purchasing electricity, same as we are. Well, they do it differently, different strategy and model, but yeah, they're like another theoretically out there buying electricity from their supply, and then yes, they're making the bulk of their profits primarily on that delivery and delivery service. Excuse me.
Nick, I don't want to interrupt, but when you're done with the presentation, would you mind going back to that first slide? Because we're doing a grid rewards campaign at the moment, so I thought maybe I could take advantage of you being here to show that to everybody quickly.
Sure, yeah, that's an on-the-spot test. Okay, I am not the grid rewards expert, but I'm happy to talk about it.
I'm not an expert either, but I've attended more than one webinar. What's that?
What did you say? I'm sorry.
I said I'm hardly an expert, but I've attended more. I've listened to the experts a little bit. So.
Okay. Well, you know Lauren here probably. She's a real expert.
Yeah.
And but I'm happy to talk about it for sure.
Okay.
So our current timeline right now, we're actually getting to brass tacks. We're looking to execute a 5-month extension. So our timeline is really tight right now. Tomorrow, actually, we're going to be sending out the information to the chief elected. So I'll just try to get here a little bit. Well, but I'm going to just open all these up real quick. So working backwards, obviously, July 1st is when we have to have a new contract in place, and when we hope to have this extension ready to go, which means a mid-June opt-out period. So maybe going backwards from the end of the month, actually. So we are working towards, getting an MOU put together similar to how it's always operated when we do new contract renewals, or for you all to sign off on, affirming a temporary extension. And I guess, just to touch on the extension part, one, it does have a lot to do with the Westchester Power 2.0 and wanting to position ourselves for a next longer term contract to, try out this new auction model. But also, we're really looking at the market volatility. So when we look at pricing right now and return to that, assessment of what energy is on the market, there's a lot of uncertainty, and that is priced into the prices you see right now as well. So we're hoping maybe with a 5-month extension as well, we can kind of ride out some of that uncertainty and things maybe become a little more stable over that term, and then we can lock in for a longer term at a more at a price that's not clouded with all of this uncertainty and has that premium of uncertainty attached to it. So I have a couple of reasons we're really focused on doing an extension for now. So the timeline for that, again, we're going to send out a little executive summary about all of these things I'm talking about with 2.0 and this new auction process. So you all have that to digest and think about, and then we're going to also offer a Zoom webinar on March 30th for chief electeds and admins to come and ask questions as well, and then we'll have a target price not to exceed at that point hopefully as well, which hopefully we can get buy-in from you all in order to move forward with this extension. So early mid-April, we would target to have all of those MOUs authorized by boards and signed. Then mid-April, contract signing with the supplier immediately after all these MOUs get executed. And then again, you see here, we go through sort of the normal steps of our mailings when a new contract comes out. Everyone who's in the program gets these opt-out letters, letting them know what the new terms are. And then we have an opt-out period for that, and then we'll roll into this new contract as of July 1st. And then again, as I mentioned down the line here, we'll be looking and preparing for this enhanced format of solicitation, and then you have same steps here, basically MOU, and that'll start or trigger by mid-August, and then we'll go through all those same steps and then launch with hopefully this really competitive price and amazing new process that we've started that's going to lead to all these other amazing things through the enhanced format starting on December 1st. So that's what we are proposing and hoping for buy-in from the municipalities and support on as we go forward. This timing is really critical. We actually, how many people are aware, when the market really first started going haywire in the summer, we saw a lot of upward pressure in the market. It really threw off our timing with those NYSEG municipalities, and it didn't work out. We had to take a pause in the program, which was a pretty disaster. So that just got restarted in NYSEG this month. So we really want to avoid that this time around too. So appreciate all of your attention to this and support and helping us get things done in this constricted timeline as well. So yeah, that's the general timeline there. If folks have questions about this, or obviously you can
Looks straightforward.
Talk about it.
I think it all looks straightforward. I have thought right from the beginning when we signed on as charter members that it's a great program and has benefited not only our community and our residents, but also our environment. So.
Awesome. I appreciate that continued trust. So you'll be hearing from us on the next day.
All right.
The next steps.
Nicole, you want to go back to the community grid thing?
Yeah, would you mind just showing that first slide with the grid rewards?
Yeah,
and I can try and make it quick. So this is the first of 3 community programs that our Climate Smart Task Force is taking on in conjunction with Sustainable Westchester. Well, really, you guys are holding our hand through the process. And it's this, well, Nick, do you want to explain it, what the program does?
Yeah, I'll let you do an intro. I'll just pull up a different PowerPoint where I have a slider if you like, and I can do that little spiel.
Sure. So, it's a program that runs through an app on your phone, and it's a very handy app that, among other things, gives you information about all kinds of information about your energy usage in your home, and it can work with small businesses as well. And it's designed specifically to lower your energy use during peak demand episodes in the summer. So, as we all know, the temperatures get really hot, the demand for air conditioning and so on rises. And the reason that's a particular concern is that, and Nick, I'm sure you can explain this better than me, but once it reaches a certain threshold, the energy grid has to draw in energy from what are called peaker plants. And those are plants that have a much higher carbon footprint than what we normally, than what is normally required to run the grid. So the app is linked to your Con Ed account, and it sends you a little alert, tells you to lower your energy consumption at that time. And if you participate in these events, and I believe there's an average of 5 to 10 events in the summer, then at the end of the year, you get cut a check. The average homeowner, it's between $100 and $200 that you receive in the mail. The whole process, signing up for the process, takes about 10 minutes. The instructions are very clearly mapped out on the Sustainable Westchester website. So it makes it super easy to do, and it's really a win-win where you contribute to the overall reduction of carbon emissions and the demand on the grid, and you get some money for your effort. Okay.
This is the grid rewards for Con Edison New York app, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you did a great job presenting it. You sold yourself short. I don't know if folks see my screen still or not, but I did pull up the slide, and you basically laid out all of the key points. Elimination of the peaker plants is really a huge goal. Those will, they're inefficient. They run maybe like 10 times a year when those demand points are really high, like in the summer, and they have to click on, and they're really nasty for the environment. So as much as we can do as a community to offset their necessity by being hyper aware of when those trees are, if you have the grid rewards app, for instance, and you can go in and really make an impact in reducing our reliance on that. And even as we go through time and renewables like solar and wind become predominant, we're still, they suffer from what's called intermittency, right? When the sun's not shining or when the wind's not blowing, those sources aren't producing energy. So if we do get into high demand periods and there's intermittency, these peaker plants may still have relevance until we get more storage and other mechanisms to really fill those gaps of when we need additional energy. So as much as we can do with our own behaviors to help, it's really amazing. And some people, like I heard one person, whenever this last summer, whenever they got the alert, they just went to their main service panel and shut everything off. And they made like $500 or something.
Wow.
So, if you really like want to make
They spent it all on candles.
And my understanding is that
They spent it all on candles.
My understanding is that we could sign up the village as well. We'd have to figure out the logistics of that. But we've already signed up the village with community solar, so that's great.
Nice. Yeah.
And perhaps we could get at least part of the village signed up for grid rewards as well.
Yeah, that I'm not sure.
I'll talk to
connect you with Lauren.
Yeah, I think.
Or Michelle.
Yeah, I've discussed it a little bit with her, but I can put her in touch. I just one more PS, which is that if we complete this campaign effectively and relatively quickly, we're also eligible for a $5,000 grant from NYSERDA, which then we can spend on more green energy programs in Pleasantville. So,
what's the benchmark for this one?
Further incentive. The benchmark is, well, in terms of participants, it's very low. It's just 10. Obviously, we're hoping to get more than that, but we also, I think, need to show that we have completed the campaign in terms of getting the word out and so on.
Well, we have 5 right. We have.
I was going to say, yeah.
Well,
we can
awesome.
sign up right now for 5 of us.
Yeah,
There you go.
it is very.
It's getting
I have 4
close to
accounts
so,
in my
yeah.
office because I have 4 rooms with separate meters.
There you
So
go.
I'm
So well, and I will say for if anybody who's tuning in, that if you want more information, we have a Facebook page for Climate Smart Pleasantville, and we also now have an email address, climatesmart@pleasantville-ny.gov. And so please reach out if you have questions. Thanks, Nick.
all right. Nick, I think we've gotten through what you had. Is that true?
Yeah, that's it for me.
Okay.
If you don't have any more questions, feel free to reach out if you do. You know our number. So, yeah.
Great. Very, very much appreciated. We'll return you to regular life.
I haven't known that for a couple of years, but thanks.
Nor have we. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Get back
That's
here.
a cute kid. Is that Nick's kid?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I didn't realize I'm still sharing.
Now we know he has a nap.
Yeah, you introduced the entire village to your daughter.
Yes.
Liliana, she's the pride and joy.
And she's a good advertisement for community choice aggregation, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
She's a huge fan, so she's out there. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Very much appreciated. And thanks to all of your colleagues at Sustainable Westchester. Really
Awesome. Thank
appreciate
you.
it. All right, so we have a public hearing tonight, but I had a few announcements to make. Before I do that, is there anyone, member of the public, wanted to comment on any subject to us tonight? There's no one in the room. I don't see a raised hand among the attendees. So let me just buzz quickly through a couple of these announcements. Obviously, the COVID news has been good and promising. The number of active cases has been way down in recent weeks. We are still very, very, very much encouraging folks to make sure they're up to date on their vaccines. In the case of the 2-dose vaccines, it's now being described not as 2 doses and a booster, but a 3-dose regimen. So really encourage folks to stay up to date with that. You can go to westchestergov.com and right on the front page, jump into not only the COVID statistics, but also places you can go to get vaccines and boosters, which are now available for kids 5 and older. So Westchester has a pretty good profile for vaccinations, and that has significantly contributed to the improved condition we see among us. So let's keep that progress going. As you perhaps have seen, we're continuing work at the south end of Memorial Plaza and soon some work at the north end of the Memorial Plaza. All of this is available. There's a sketch still up at pleasantville-ny.gov. Is that in the special projects category in the left-hand column? We've talked about it before. I won't bore you with the details, but if you didn't hear that before and are interested, there's a drawing that shows you what we're doing at the south end. We had a work session earlier with the farm market, which is anticipating moving into their regular season, longer duration market effective April 2. And they are also going to move down to the south end of Memorial Plaza. So in essence, the parking on the quote-unquote commuter side is going to be flipped, and the market will be at the south end nearer Bedford Road. The parking will be at the north end nearer Manville. They're going to be sending out information about that, not only through their email system, but also through the Examiner and through the Village. So keep an eye on that. But May 2 is the day when that happens, and also the day when the market starts to roll back into its larger and longer term schedule on a Saturday morning. So we encourage you to visit and support them. Sawmill Parkway work continues. No change there. That's going to go on for another year or more. I participated in a discussion the other night that arises out of a long discussion within the county about the approach flight path to Westchester County Airport. That's been a very significant concern to some, more so in Mount Pleasant and North Castle and Newcastle than here in Pleasantville, but certainly we are affected. And there are some proposals out there to modify the flight plan. I certainly am no flight expert, but it would appear to me that the proposed new plan, which has not been finalized yet, probably is not much of a change for Pleasantville. That is to say, to the extent that folks have found air traffic to be a problem, it didn't appear to me that it's likely to be significantly different for us, although the paths are slightly different. But if you're interested in that, you can get in touch with us, and I'd be happy to connect you to the folks who have issued a long report, and also the interesting video stuff about the approaches. So as has been the case ever since the airport started to become a bigger thing, it's a challenge to maintain the kind of service that folks want, and that the airport needs to be viable, and at the same time avoid disruption to the extent possible in the areas it overflies. So couple of things to point out. We're floating around looking for folks who are interested in summer jobs, seasonal positions, travel camp counselors, day camp counselors, camp specialists who can provide sports, theater, nature, nurse, EMT, lifeguards for our pool gate attendants, park laborers, etc. So those jobs have typically, many of them, been of interest to older high school students and to college students home for the summer. So we very much encourage anybody who might be interested to talk it up and take a look at pleasantville-ny.gov to the Recreation Department page. I had great rewards on my list. Nicole just talked about that, but you want to just encourage people where to find the app and what to find?
Yeah, so if you're on Facebook, go to Climate Smart Pleasantville's Facebook page to get information about grid rewards, or you can also go to the Sustainable Westchester website, where there are very clear set instructions for how you can register, how you can download the app, connect your Con Ed account to it. Should I repeat what I already said earlier? Or
Yeah, I think we probably said enough, right?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll say more about it at each meeting, I think.
Yeah, and again, if you have questions, reach out to me. You can contact me, Nicole Asker, through the website, or you can write to climatesmart@pleasantville-ny.gov.
And while you're in an app downloading mood, Recycle Right is also a Sustainable Westchester app that we have now participated in, that allows you to enter your address and automatically get updates about when your trash and recycling pickups are going to happen. It's a great system that makes it easy to say what's happening in a week when there's a holiday, what's happening in a week when there might be a snow change, or whatever. You can automate reminders the night before if you want to put trash or recycling out. So I really encourage folks to download that. It's Recycle Right. And then, as I mentioned earlier, there's also a Westchester County Police app, if that's of any interest to you, to get notifications from them. You can find that by going to the App Store on iOS or Android and searching for Westchester County Police. Lastly, I just want to remind folks of coming up, we're looking forward to a much more regular season of special events in the spring and the arrival of the summer. Pleasantville Day, Saturday, May 21. Memorial Day, Monday, May 30. And the Fire Department Parade on the evening of Friday, June 3. So mark your calendars for all of those things. Anybody else have anything to announce or report?
From the chamber side, and in support also for all the local businesses, there's a bunch of ribbon cutting ceremonies that are happening. There's, I think, 3 scheduled for the next month, so if everyone can follow the chamber, you can see. Mine's one of them.
I was about to say, one of them is the arrival of the law offices of
On April 8th.
W. Paul
April 8th,
Alvarez
yeah.
at April 8th. Paul has taken over his law firm and promptly moved it to Pleasantville, which is where it belongs.
I thought you said it was a requirement for me to be a trustee. No, but other than me, it was, we also have Chatterbox is doing the ribbon cutting ceremony. So just follow us on either Facebook or Instagram, and we will have those ribbon cuttings. And I want to thank PCTV because they're also at those events, the shooting. So if you can't be there and present, just, definitely check it out, and support all the local businesses that are coming out. We're excited that a lot of new restaurants will be opening up, and a lot more other businesses have rejoined the chamber. So I think we're starting to get more numbers, and we will also have a presence at Pleasantville Day as well. So we're continuing all that. So it's some really good news in regards to the businesses here in Pleasantville, especially over the last 2 years that we had a lot of difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
And new businesses coming. I mean, glad, as you reported, to be welcoming Chatterbox in the former Mediterranean site. So, all right. If there are no further announcements, is there a motion to open the public hearing on Introductory Local Law 2 of 2022 to amend Chapter 173, Article 7, Section 66 of the Code of the Village of Pleasantville concerning parking on Bedford Terrace?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Welcome to the public hearing on Article Eric, you want to just describe the thrust of this, or Michael?
Yeah.
This is something Michael's been working on.
Sure. This is one piece of a larger initiative in the Old Village to work on pedestrian and parking safety, generally to help with congestion and confusion at that main intersection, the original intersection of Pleasantville, of course. Mm-hmm. And this is a sign of our success. We have a successful business right on that corner in Craft, which is expanding. We have a successful business in Bistro 186, which is 186, which is doing well. We have Don Juan under new management doing well. We have Frankie, Best of Westchester Barbershop, doing well. So there's a lot happening in a very, very small space, and it's a space where so many cars and school kids and bike riders come through. So there's a number of kind of action items that I proposed to the board, and the first one that we're undertaking is a change in parking regulations for only 3 parking spaces, but the 3 parking spaces that are the biggest problem for takeout and delivery at the dinner hour. And I would say that anecdotally, on my way here tonight, there was illegal parking at this spot that was almost in the intersection for someone picking up food. So even the night where we're hoping to enact the law, the problem was on display. And there are a number of other plans that I'd like us to work on for that intersection in the coming months, especially as all the businesses fill up. But this is the first of those. Oh, so the change is that was a preamble.
Yeah.
So the change is simply to have 15-minute parking from 5 to 8 p.m. in 3 spaces on Bedford Terrace on the east side of the intersection.
Thank you, Michael. And so those are the spaces immediately alongside the Bedford Terrace side of Craft, right?
Yes.
All right. Any comment on that from, obviously, we've discussed that here on the village board side. Is there any comment from anyone who's logged in or who is in the room?
I just want to thank Michael. This is the kind of, people joining the board and solving local problems that's important to the village. So thanks for all your work on this.
Well, and I might also add that at the moment we've got pretty good geographic diversity on where we live, which is a really nice piece of
That's true.
of the current board. So I see no further comment. There being no further comment, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, we've departed the public hearing and we'll launch to the resolutions. Paul, number 49, let me share my screen.
I have it up too. Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the minutes of the regular meeting held on February 28th, 2022.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or corrections to the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Number 50, Nicole.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the following budget amendments for fiscal year ending 2022 as listed below. Budget transfers of the general fund, $495 from Board of Trustees conference training to mayor conference training, $2,000 contingent to municipal associations, $100 contingent to Clinton Street Natural Gas, $2,053 from contingent to Clinton Street repairs, $458 from contingent to senior nutrition repairs, $5,000 from contingent to shade tree contractual, $6,100 from contingent transfer to capital for Nantahagan flood project, $6,380 from contingent transfer to capital for Memorial Plaza project, $100 safety part-time to safety gas diesel, $1,561 safety part-time to safety software, $2,500 DPW admin gas diesel to highway gas diesel, for a total of $26,747. Budget transfers in the water fund, $600 from contingent to technology consulting. Budget transfers in the refuse fund, $4,000 from sanitation vehicle repair to sanitation gas diesel. Increased revenue and expense capital funds, $6,100 interfund transfer from general fund for the Nantahagan flood project, $6,380 interfund transfer from general fund for the Memorial Plaza project, a total of $12,480.
Is there a second?
Second.
Comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. David, 51.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby approves the abstract for payment of claims dated March 14th, 2022 for fiscal year ending 2022 covering check numbers 102,989 to 103,166 from the general fund $163,287.77, from the water fund $145,178.54, from the capital fund $5,036.18, from the refuse fund $10,171.78 for a total of $323,674.27.
Is there a second?
Second.
As always, folks who are interested in the details can download right here the blue link, the payment of claims, and get the line-by-line detail that contributes to all of these numbers. Are there any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Michael, 52.
Whereas the village seeks to create a need-based Pleasantville summer camp scholarship program to enable residents to attend summer camp who may otherwise not be able to afford to do so. And whereas the village intends to approve up to $15,000 in support of the program for the 2022 summer camp to run from June 2022 through August 2022. And whereas families who were approved for free lunch during the 2021-2022 school year based on student/household eligibility for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, otherwise known as SNAP, will be eligible to receive support through the Pleasantville Summer Camp Scholarship Program. And whereas the selection of those who receive support through the Pleasantville Summer Camp Scholarship Program will be based on a first-come, first-served basis. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees authorizes the creation of the Pleasantville Summer Camp Scholarship Program with an allocation of $15,000 to fund 2022 Village Summer Camp tuition within the fiscal year 2023 Village budget under line A7230.400 for income-eligible village residents.
Is there a second?
Second.
Comments, questions? This is a reprise of a program we began last year. It was one of the things David had been focused on. Thank you for that. Just looking for opportunities to make sure that members of our community who might struggle to have their kids participate in day camp have a chance to do so. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. 53.
Thanks, David.
Back to you, Paul?
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the following fee and tuition rates for the 2022 Village Summer Camps. Tiny Tots Session 1, June 27th to July 15th, resident fee $324, school district fees $431. Session 2, July 18th through August 5th, resident fee $324, school district fee $431. Both sessions are resident fee $568, school district fee $759. Junior Camp Session 1, June 27th through July 15th, $287 for resident fee, $389 for school district fee. Session 2, July 18th through August 5th, $287 for resident fee, $389 for school district fee. Both sessions, $407 for resident fee, $660 for school district fee. Senior Camp Session 1, June 27th to July 15th, $586 for resident fee, $741 for school district fee. Session 2, July 18th through August 5th, $586 for resident fee, $741 for school district fee. Both sessions, $1,008 for resident fee, $1,150 for school district fee. Teen Travel Camp Session 1, June 27th to July 15th, $1,365 for resident fee, $1,522 for school district fee. Session 2, July 18th through August 5th, $1,365 for resident fee, $1,522 for school district fee. Both sessions is $2,310 for resident fee, $2,467 for school district fee.
Is there a second?
Second, but maybe it should be amended so it says sessions instead of session. So
Okay, both sessions
On all three.
on all three.
Mhm.
Approved by the mover and the seconder. Just to be clear, the school district fee means folks who are outside the Village of Pleasantville but within the school district. It's always been our policy to make sure that kids who go to school together have a chance to participate in these programs together. But in this case, residents pay a modestly lower fee because they're already funding our rec department through their property taxes, which is not the case of folks who live outside the village but still within the school district. So, further comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Nicole, 54.
Whereas Introductory Local Law 2 of
Well, hold it, or should we go out of order and give this to Mike?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
do it.
okay.
54, Mike.
Sure. That big moment. Whereas Introductory Local Law 2 of 2022 has been introduced to amend Chapter 173, Article 7, Section 66 of the Code of the Village of Pleasantville concerning parking on Bedford Terrace. Whereas a public hearing concerning Introductory Local Law 2 of 2022 was held and closed on March 14th, 2022. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Pleasantville hereby adopts Local Law 2 of 2022.
Is there a second?
Second.
This is the subject we just talked about in the public hearing. Comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. All right, back to you, Nicole, 55.
All right, more my speed. Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the request from Holy Innocents Parish to close the Tompkins Avenue Parking Lot for public parking on May 14th, 2022 from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. for the purpose of a parish special event.
Is there a second?
Second.
A chance to remind folks who may not be aware that lot at the corner of Tompkins and Manville is actually owned by Holy Innocents, and they allow public use of a portion of it consistent with a longstanding agreement with the village which maintains it. But what they're asking for here is the chance to take the whole property back for this special event, in essence to use the entire lot that they themselves own. So happy to support that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. David, 56.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to sign the agreement with OnSolve for Code Red Emergency Notification Services June 1, 2022 to May 31st, 2023 for a fee of $5,163.48.
Is there a second?
Second.
So the Code Red system is the system we signed on for some years back after, I think, Superstorm Sandy, when it became apparent that it was extremely difficult to reach out to people who might have left their homes to go somewhere else because of the lack of power, or who had their power out and needed to be reached by email or cell phone. It gives you the opportunity to sign up and to give us several ways to reach you. It's a service we will only use in an emergency. We're not using it for garden variety notifications. In fact, many years you will not receive any notification at all. But when we need it, it's a great tool. I might also add it's a tool that can be used by folks who are concerned about, for example, a relative who may need assistance. And so we have people who live out of state who have signed up for it so that they're aware of what's going on in Pleasantville and could reach out to a relative who might need assistance. So go to pleasantville-ny.gov, left column, sign up for news and announcements, and also sign up for Code Red. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. We already went out of order and Michael had his moment. So 57 goes back to Paul.
Result that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village treasurer to create a special purpose account for NYSERDA Clean Energy Grant Program for the purposes of a climate smart incentive program.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
So this is the fund that's going to fund the rebate program, correct?
Correct.
All right, so you'll be hearing more about this. This is a rebate program to help residents purchase electric lawnmowers or leaf blowers and thereby transition from gas lawn equipment to electric lawn equipment. So we'll be letting you know more about that soon.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. And then 58 is you, Nicole.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the following ticket sales for the Pleasantville Music Festival Tent City, spaces A2 through A12, at the price of $100, spaces B1 through 12, C1, C13, D1, D13, E1, E14, and F1 through F14, at the price of $85, spaces C2 through C12, D2 through D12, and E2 through E13, at the price of $75.
Is there a second?
Second.
So this reflects the relative desirability and thus demand for certain high-profile spaces like the ones on the end and the ones in the front. Modest increases over when we last did this, which was 2019. Comments, questions?
Do we have a date for the Tent City release
I
yet?
don't think we
Not
do,
yet.
but we
Soon.
will very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And the lineup,
Is it going to be online or
Release
people?
party. My lips are sealed.
or the release party date? No?
yeah. The lineup is taking shape, and Bruce Figler and his team are going to have an announcement party, but all that's to be determined. I can also report that we're well along in coming to agreement with a new primary sponsor of the festival, which is really good news for, I think, both us and for that
interesting.
sponsor. So stay tuned.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. 59, David.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the following applications and space prices for Pleasantville Music Festival vendors. Early bird pricing applies until April 22nd, 2022. Regular pricing applies from April 22nd to May 27th, 2022. For craft vendors, sales of handmade items, $175 early and $195 regular. For retail vendors, sales of packaged manufactured goods, $225 early and $250 regular. For off-site or service vendors, sales of services, $360 early or $390 regular. For food and beverage vendors, the sales of food and beverage, $375 early and $415 regular. For electricity of 15 amps maximum, $90 early, $90 regular. For ice service, cubed, delivered in 20-pound bags, $90 early or regular. and for vendor additional wristbands, maximum $2, $25 early or regular.
Is there a second?
Second.
Comments, questions? These are, again, I think, in line with the 2019 numbers, modest increase in a couple of places. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. That was the last of our regular agenda items. Is there any new business or comment of any kind from the public? Sounds like there isn't. So we're going to return to work session and finish the rec department budget, which we didn't finish. And at the conclusion of that continued work session, can I have a motion to go into executive session on a matter of personnel and a matter of real estate?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved.